Okay, thank you so much for your patience in this final session that we have prepared for you today. It's our thank you once again for joining us today and yesterday for this event. And for concluding, we are really happy to sign this partnership commitment and as part of leading the next steps in regarding how we move forward the agenda regarding psychosocial risk management and mental health at work. In this regard, I want to invite the different associations across the world and the different stakeholders and social partners that are at the moment in this table, so they can tell us a little bit about themselves and what are their thoughts and expectations with this Geneva Partnership Commitment.
Brilliant. So maybe if we could start with Stavroula, Leka, President of the European Academy of Occupational Health Psychology, please.
Thank you, Juliet and Miguel. First of all, a little bit about the Academy. I mean, you've heard a lot about us, so I will be very, very brief. The Academy has existed for actually 26 years. 25-year anniversary was last year. 1999, we were established. It's a charity that exists to promote the discipline of occupational health psychology. We have 3 forums that are focusing on education, research and practice, and the practice forum more and more also dealing with policy. We have grown over the years. Now we have around 800 members and growing still. And we hold biennial conferences, with the next ones you have seen in your folders taking place in June in Helsinki, Finland. So we're very excited about that. We have been also, together with the fellow colleagues, associations that are around this table, we have established an international coordinating group for occupational health psychology that has existed again for many years. It started with the European Academy and the Society for Occupational Health Psychology, but then, of course, it expanded as we have other colleagues here with the International Commission Occupational Health Scientific Committee, Work Organization, Psychosocial Factors, and the Asia-Pacific Academy for Psychosocial Factors at Work as well. And as we grow, we want to welcome other associations around the world. We're aware that, for example, there are research groups in Latin America, and we have worked with them as well over the years. And as they become more formalized, of course, they will join this international coordinating group and our efforts. I don't want to say any more than that, other than that this is a major area of concern. We have worked over the years with different stakeholders, including policymakers, to advance knowledge and translate knowledge into policy and practice. And you have heard over these past 2 days how we work also with the UN and different agencies and with different policymakers in various countries. So I will stop here, I think, Juliet.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Next, if I could hand over to Michael Ertel, who is from the International Commission of Occupational Health, Scientific Committee on Work Organization and Psychosocial Factors. So I know we heard about the committee before, but a wonderful opportunity to hear more and its reflections on this partnership.
Thank you, Juliet. So very shortly, I think this partnership commitment really takes international collaboration on psychosocial risks and mental health at work to a higher level, and it aligns well with our activities. So who are we as the ICOH Scientific Committee on Work Organization and Psychosocial Factors, as part of the big ICOH, was founded in 1993 in Nice, in France. And today we have about 140 members from about 28 countries, various disciplines, scientific disciplines, and OSH practitioners. We have an international steering group, secretary from South Africa, 4 co-chairs from India, Brazil, France, Taiwan, and the chair from Germany. That's me. So we aim, as scientific committee, we aim to promote awareness, research, and education to disseminate good practices and to influence policy development in the area of work organization and psychosocial factors. In recent years, we've been closely collaborating with the Asia-Pacific Academy for Psychosocial Factors at Work And my colleague, Professor Akinori Nakata, will, I think, elaborate on that. The two conferences recently in 2023 in Tokyo, and the next one just coming in 2 months in Ho Chi Minh City, which will be organized together by us. In a global perspective, the aspect of regulation and prevention shows a very broad picture. I think very broadly we can say in Europe, there's more the focus on, let's say, prevention and regulation. In Eastern Asia, there's more the focus on, very broadly speaking, on innovation and compensation of work-related diseases, particularly considering the partly very long working hours, let's say Taiwan, Japan, South Korea. And so there are important cultural factors when we go to the international level. The picture is more complicated. I would say in general, also in these times of authoritarian temptation, it's important to give workers the chance to voice their concerns. Only if risks are visible, they can be addressed and properly managed. I think that's very important. And if governments are not active, we hope there's a chance for NGOs to be active. Sometimes it's even necessary that whistleblowers take issues on the agenda. So the picture is, I think, very broad. I would like at the end of my short part come to just an idea. There's one action point in that commitment. Point 1, policy-focused initiatives in partnership with international organizations, governments, and social partners. And I think there's, at the moment, there's a hot debate in the ILO, in the International Commission in this June on the status of algorithmic management. Is it more part of competition law? Is it more part of labor law? And I think we could, as one part of activity in our global commitment, support those countries and organizations, for example, labor unions, that algorithmic management is part of labor law and important part of decent work in the digital economy. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And next, I'd like to welcome Akinori Nakata from the Asia Pacific Academy for Psychosocial Factors at Work.
Hello, everyone. I'm Akinori Nakata. Get the slides, please. Yes, I would like to talk about, well, some of you are not familiar with the Asian Academy of Psychosocial Factors at Work. So I will briefly introduce what we do. And next, I would like to talk about the Japanese situation of psychosocial risks. Now that, okay. The Asian Pacific Academy was founded by Dr. Maureen Dollard. She's a professor at the South Australian University, and succeeded by Awang and then me. Next slide. Okay. And we had a very successful conference. We moved up to from the workshop to the conference recent years. And as Michael said, we had a joint conference with ICOH-WOPS in 2023, and which was very successful, that we found out it was not a simple sum of 1 + 1 organization is 2. It's more rather than 3. It's add up to 3. And so we found out that we should have another joint meeting, which is coming up next month, in December this year in Vietnam. And we had, at the conference, the first conference, we had 302 participants from 34 different countries, which is pretty nice, even under COVID-19. And at that conference, we had a global roundtable session, national policy approaches for work-related mental health. And as a fact that we had published this in the Industrial Health. It's a journal published by the Japan ICOH. And so we are pretty much successful in this. And here we are, these are the expert workshops and conferences, and we're heading for 2025 and the next. Maybe we can have a more collaborative conference with the EAOHP and SIOP and ICOH-WOPS. So this is the next conference coming up. I hope you all join this conference. So talking about Japan, we talked about the psychosocial risks, but as some of you know about what is karoshi. Karoshi is death due to overwork, and you're sacrificing your life by work. And you can see that there are two types of karoshi. One, the orange one, is death by stroke, heart failure. That's the physical hazard. Another is suicide due to overwork. And you can see that the number is increasing, especially among younger workers. So this tells us two important issues. One is, if you die, you know, I'm not trying to hide. Where did it go? Oh, yeah. So this is not a problem about yourself. It's about your family, your friends, your colleagues, neighborhood, even your pets like dogs and cats, and also society as a whole. This is a huge impact that this is a psychosocial risk we are at now. And even though we had multiple preventive acts and legislations, we still have this force is so strong that we are having these kind of issues still in Japan. This is a new prime minister who was just elected about 10 days ago. And what she said was very, very interesting, that she said, I will work. And she said, I will throw out my work-life balance, which means that she only has a work-work balance. And this is that the prime minister is what the first speech when she was elected. I think it's a big problem. I think we need to correct her to, so as a whole, I think it is important to have a global partnership and global standardization for the psychosocial risks to prevent all of these issues. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And what a compelling and last slide, I think, food for thought there. The joys of technology. Manal, Azzi from the International Labour Organization. So I know we've heard much about some of the fantastic work that's been happening within the ILO, but maybe if you have any reflections in terms of this global network and partnership, it'd be very welcome. Thank you.
Okay. I was hoping to close after hearing all the inputs, but I think so from the commitment that's in your folders and shared with you, I think for us it's a moment to appreciate this initiative, and we welcome this initiative, and I think it's absolutely necessary and obvious that we need to call for this partnership. It fills me with pride that it happens here at the ILO, where a lot of these discussions were born, that it's happening in Geneva as a sign of commitment commitment and as the global hub for a lot of our UN agencies, but also the commitment and the description that it gives, that we need to be collaborating on various policy issues, but also creating sort of the knowledge and a hub for this knowledge, like the dashboard and tools that we can use, and so we don't reinvent the wheel. I want to take this opportunity, I think, to thank the leadership of the European Academy, particularly Stavroula, Aditya, and all your team that has worked very hard to make this 2 days happen. But also from the ILO, I wanted to thank particularly Lucia Risueno Navarro, who's been working behind the scenes a lot from our team supporting this work. And I think it's just the example of what we can do when we, join our forces. And it's happened in a weird way, but today you managed to have everyone from national representatives to regional to international associations, working groups, the scientific committee, even our internal staff representation and our UN officers, welfare officers, counselors, HRD, bringing this multidisciplinary between yesterday and today. I think, I have personally never been in such a meeting that has brought everyone together in one place. So I think it's just a start. And hopefully by expressing our commitment with this partnership and ILO support for it, we can start, we can continue our work more meaningfully, efficiently, and sustainably. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Now, unfortunately, our colleague from the US doesn't seem to be online. So I think if it's all right, maybe if I could hand over to Stavroula to provide some final reflections ahead of the signature of the Geneva Partnership Commitment.
Thank you very much, Juliet. LQ was supposed to be here. And in fact, what we're going to do now is sign the Geneva Commitment. I can show you that actually she has already signed it virtually because she couldn't be here with us. So before we do that, I think this is, as I said before, we do already collaborate among ourselves for many years, but we hope that this partnership will make our collaboration more sustainable. We have some specific goals and aims that we have outlined, and you can all see by reading the partnership commitment. And Manal also referred to some of those. We see it as a very important step. And all of you, in various ways, with your comments and with your presentations, have discussed the current challenges that we are facing due to the changes that are affecting the world of work, the context in which these changes are happening, the rapid evolution of many of those, whether they are technological, whether they are political or economic, or let's say related to the environment. We do have often to run after the developments, and I don't think we can do that alone. Only if we come together and only with coordinated action, we can have a strong voice and we can ensure that we actually get knowledge and evidence to feed into not only policy, but also practice. So we are all very much committed to this, advancing this area. And with this partnership commitment, we hope that others will actually join us. And by others, I don't mean only scientific associations and academics and experts, but the social partners and also international organizations. And we do feel, and as you've heard from many colleagues from the countries as well, that the ILO has a very strong role to play going forward. So I will invite my colleagues to join me in signing also the commitment after the Society of Occupational Health Psychology. So, Akinori, if I may start with you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Michael. Thank you very much. And I've signed it, of course, as well on behalf of the European Academy of Occupational Health Psychology. And Michael did ask me, do we have to use a special pen? And I said, well, it's an ILO pen, so I guess it's special. All right. And finally, I'd like to, before we close, say a few thanks. So first of all, thank you very much to the ILO. As I said, with Manal and Joaquin, who joined us this morning, we have been discussing this for probably more than 18 months now. So we're delighted to be here. Thank you very much. And also thank you to your team, to Lucia and others who have supported this event. I would also like to thank Lucia Vinti from the UN Mental Health Strategy, who has been quite instrumental in bringing different colleagues together, and to all the UN colleagues who joined us and shared the experiences. We really appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing in this important area. I would like to also thank the colleagues who are here from the scientific associations. They've shown their commitment, and they're really looking forward to strengthening our collaboration. Thank you very much. Lastly, I would like to thank the colleagues of the European Academy, who, as always, it's a pleasure to work with. In fact, I would like to single out two of them first. I don't think we would be here actually in the ILO if it wasn't for Aditya and his perseverance to bring us all here. And also to Daniel. We wouldn't have the high-level political commitment that we had today if it wasn't for him. Thank you very much, Daniel. But to all the colleagues of the European Academy, of course, as always, it's a pleasure to work with you and very grateful. And finally, thank you to all of you for attending and making these 2 days memorable. We also are very happy to have you in our journey to commit to promoting mental health at work. Thank you very much.